Good evening. The Southborough Tricentennial Committee is now in session. It's December 10th, 2025, 6:30. We want to welcome our new committee member, Eric. Eric Davis. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for showing up.
Glad to be
And
here.
then Deb Carstein.
Yes.
You know my son, Matthew.
Yes.
Matthew.
Yeah. He and my daughter Molly were in the same grade.
Yeah, and Salt. He's in Salt.
Yeah. I'm a longtime board member of the Open Land Foundation. Oh, I'm sorry. I've mixed up with the different Morrises. My daughter Molly is older. Yes, Matt is on the board of Salt.
Yes.
Great kid. We love him.
Was that recorded? We have more news with on Matt later on in the agenda. So go ahead, Deb. Thank you for coming tonight. And you're on. You have another meeting.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I guess I'll continue sitting. So I'm Debbie Costain. I've been a resident of Southborough for over 40 years and been on the board of the Southborough Open Land Foundation for about 15 years or so. I've always been interested in local history. And it was in 2014 when the Burnett House, at that time, the Garfield House, was seemingly only weeks away from the wrecking ball. And since I've always loved old houses, I thought, no, we can't, you don't do that. So I went to a meeting at one of the town boards and got all the information. And that was when probably the whole story about the girls, the 14 and 15-year-old girls started protesting out in front. And so I was going to do anything I could to help. And I started producing for them the daily update because things kept changing. And for those of you who are peripherally even involved in that whole process of saving that house from demolition, I got very involved in doing whatever I could to save that from demolition. And one of the things, so my thought was that people are much more likely to want to save and protect something if they know about it. And the more you know, the more you care, presumably. And in order to get people to care about something, they have to know, they have to learn about it. So at the beginning, I knew only one thing about the house, and that was it was the Garfield house. But when I was first in town, I would drive by and I'd think, what's the deal with that house? Who lived there? And why is it like that? And what did they do? And that's all I knew until this all began. So I started diving into the research and I printed out flyers. I started spending time Saturdays at the transfer station and thinking, oh, clearly this is a historic property. And the first day there, this guy said, there's nothing historic about that house. And I thought, really? And at that point, I didn't know, but how can he just say that? So I started reading and reading and reading. And I learned, oh my God, it was just amazing. So I have, just for preliminary inspiration, this is Joseph and his wife Josephine. Aren't they a lovely couple?
Yeah.
They're the ones who lived in that house with they had 12 children. And one of them died in infancy, and the others went on to have just phenomenal lives. For example, the oldest, Edward, now the plan was that all the Burnett males were going to go to Harvard. That was the plan for the family. And so Edward did. And he took over running the farm eventually from his father, from Joseph. But then went into politics. He was in the Cleveland administration. And then he turned to farm architecture. And he became one of the preeminent farm designers for the estates of the Gilded Age, like the Vanderbilt mansion in North Carolina. What do we call that? The Biltmore. Thank you. And there was another one, I think, in New Jersey, another Vanderbilt estate, because these farms, the estates, had guests who would come for the summer. And so they had to have a farm to grow the food and to serve all these people. I meant to say, actually, at first about Joseph, it had been locally believed and said that Joseph Burnett came to town as a wealthy Bostonian. That is totally not true at all. In fact, he has deep roots and was descended from one of Southborough's first residents, Mary Johnson. So he's descended from the Johnsons, the Newtons, the Wards, the Rices, and the Matthews. So he clearly didn't just show up as a rich guy. And he was born on Gilmore Road. His father was a farmer. They had a small farm, and he was a rope maker. And see, all these little details, you think, who would have thought? Okay, farm on Gilmore Road, and the farmer also made rope. There's a thing called a rope walk that you build so that you can make the rope. And but Joseph was inspired by his uncle Joel Burnett, who had more of an education than Joseph's father did. So he went to what is now Worcester Polytech, was then the Worcester College of Pharmaceuticals, and he graduated from there and then got a job in Boston working for the Metcalf Pharmacy. And it was going very well. And after a few years, he went out on his own with his own shop, his own business. And everything, I love this. Everything changed one day when a woman who had been living in France for a few years came back and went into the shop wanting to know if he would or could replicate liquid vanilla extract as she had been using in France. And at first he said, no, I'm a pharmacist. I don't do cooking things. Fortunately, for everything being after that, he thought about it. He changed his mind and he took on the challenge and he worked on it, and it was a success. It was a nationwide success. And it was because of his pharmaceutical background and his willingness to try something a little out of his comfort zone that he became a very wealthy man. At that time, he's still maintained his roots in here in Southborough, and he started buying up land, and he wanted to have a farm, his own farm in Southborough. So he started buying up land, which is now Burnett, or the property of the house, and most way down Deerfoot Road. And he began building the house. So it was in 1847 that his whole life path changed by his great success with the vanilla. And that's when he started buying the property. The first thing he did was have built the stone shop, which is now referred to as the chapel. And that was for the purpose of working the stone in order to build the stone house. Now, the first part, phase one, because he and Josephine were newly married and they had no idea how many children they were going to have, there was like a kind of like the traditional design of a colonial house with, the front door, 2 windows, upstairs, a window and 2 windows. But as his fortune and family size grew, by 1860, by 10 years later, he had it much expanded, with another whole wing on the back and a tower, which is no longer there. So that there was plenty of room for his growing family. So I mentioned about Edward. One of his sons became a vicar, and Joseph, I don't know which one started first, but Joseph decided that he wanted to bring an Episcopal church to Southborough. He married Josephine, who was Episcopal. So he was convinced. So St. Mark's Episcopal Church was built because he was determined and he paid for it. So that's how that happens to be there. And then Waldo, his son Waldo, became a vicar and was a vicar in churches in England for quite a few years. And eventually he moved back and became the vicar of St. Mark's here. Then this is pretty cool. He had a daughter named Esther, and she's listed as Mrs. Gardner on some of the old maps, and nobody knows much. Okay, Mrs. Gardner. Well, that's because her husband has died, and so she was the owner, and it was Mrs. Gardner. But she had married George Peabody Gardner, who was the nephew of Isabella Stewart Gardner of the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston. And George managed all her finances, which I think was quite a hurdle. And so it's known that Isabella Stewart Gardner often came out to Southborough and visited at Esther and her husband's house, and as well at the Stone House. There was a daughter, Ruth, who she was, you could say, a bit the black sheep of the family because she became a Catholic. And Waldo, the Episcopal vicar, disowned her for that reason. But she became a nun. And she didn't just become a nun, she became the Mother Superior of the Manhattanville School in New York City. And which is pretty amazing. And then she was a very athletic nun, and introduced all the a lot of athletics to the students. Louise Burnett married Charles Francis Choate II, and you might be aware that the village hall, the society, is sometimes referred to as the Choate House. We're on what this land used to be part of the Choate Field. So that was Louise Burnett and her husband, Charles Francis, who bought the house that was there so that they could give it to the town as a local resource in order to boost community spirit. And so the Southborough Village Society was formed at that time. So to me, it's just once you start digging and one thing leads to another, you don't really know what you're going to find. And sometimes it's just quite astonishing. So in order to try to save the house, it meant, from my perspective, my part was convincing voters why they should care, that it wasn't just some rich guy, it was a local guy who had such an impact. He founded St. Mark's School and the church. The Village Society is because of the Burnetts. The library, Joseph gave the land for the library and greatly funded it as well. So they had a big impact on the town. So I created a PowerPoint presentation because I love photographs and arranging and creating that sort of thing. And I presented it at the senior center for a big Burnett Deerfoot Farm breakfast that our good friend Alan Bazanson was instigator of. And I presented this, excuse me, at the library, and then various house parties or anybody who would be willing to host, to get people to understand that it was not so, that there's nothing historic about that house. And then because of what we accomplished here and the effect, presumably my presentation helped, I was invited to do the presentation at the annual meeting of the Preservation Massachusetts organization, the state agency, for their annual meeting in Plymouth. And I thoroughly enjoyed doing that. And then I had more opportunities to, the Northborough Historical Society wanted me to come and present because they are, I think they're making progress to saving White Cliffs in their town. So I have this 45-ish minute presentation. I'll probably tweak it a bit because it won't be about the Burnett house exactly, but it will be about a local guy who really succeeded tremendously and did so much for the town of Southborough that most people know almost nothing about. And so I just love it that no matter where you go, you start reading about the town, and so much happened here or in any town before us. There was so much, and we tend to think of it, this is how Southborough is, and this is Southborough, but so much fascinating stuff.
Love it. I love your enthusiasm.
So are you asking for a time like within the calendar for when we could incorporate a presentation? Is that the request?
Yeah, I thought I would offer this as a presentation for, whenever, wherever,
It'd be exciting.
because, sorry,
I'm sorry, the other thing is that you had also spoke, this is like not, I mean, about the walk, to do the walk.
oh, right. Yeah, I created the, what did I call it? The walking tour. That would start at the Burnett, where did it start? Down by the reservoir where you can see the view of the house. There are so many buildings that are still visible in the vicinity that were part of the whole, either the family or part of the farm. Right next door to you, and across the street, like where Trottier is, you probably know, is where the Deerfoot farm moved after the reservoir was built. And that's, of course, that farm, which was huge, is all gone. So yeah, and I could do that too. I had all these pictures, and I did it for numerous groups of people, including the Burnett family, because they have their reunion every other year. And they know their own line of the family tree, but they don't, they were amazed. They didn't know most of this stuff either. They knew some. They knew about the house, I think, primarily.
I think it's really important to get the message out, and I think that for the Tricentennial, this is a perfect opportunity to find out, people realize, who started what in this town.
Right.
The community house. People think, a lot of people in the town still think it's owned by the town.
Right.
So I think
Yep. Yeah.
it's an important part of
We
the
get
mission
that
for the
call
year.
at least 2 or 3 times a week.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deb-
There's
Go ahead.
a lot of misconceptions about who did what in the town, and not really well understood.
We are approaching 1 year away from 2027. And in 2026, we'll be putting together a calendar of events. We have some of the events locked into a specific date. Others we don't, but will be filling in. This sounds to me like something that would be maybe better off done inside. So it
Oh,
might be
definitely.
it might be a early 2027, January, February, March type timeframe for this, and then maybe later in the year you could do it again, something similar.
I
Maybe
think
walk
that's
later.
a good idea, because once people have seen it, they're so amazed at all that of the extent of it all, that word gets around.
So, are there any other questions or comments from the board, the committee?
Just out of sheer curiosity, who owns the house now?
It is owned by John Deli Priscoli.
So it's private, like privately owned.
It's privately owned. I was very involved with, we had the group, the Friends of the Burnett Garfield House, and I didn't really work with him very much because I had my focus, but what is happening and what is supposed to be happening is like constantly in flux. So, but he is the owner. And people do want to know, when is it going to be a boutique B&B?
It would be nice if we could get permission just to walk on the grounds at that time, but we could talk about that. I don't know.
He's my neighbor actually, and Al's my neighbor,
Oh, yeah.
and I live in one of the old Deerfoot houses.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know John Dellapascoli as my neighbor, and also his interaction. When I
He's
was-
your neighbor
Well, yeah,
because of living at the Burnett house?
Yeah.
Okay, not like right next door.
No.
Right, okay,
it's just down the street.
yeah,
But I've,
down the street.
I've been very fortunate to, been, with John, through that house several times. In the last couple of years, watching it progress. Um, the beautiful paintings, the, chandeliers, floors, it's absolutely, it's hard to put in words the inside of that house and what he's done. But he ran the Edaville Railroad in Carver.
Right.
And he's also owns the Grafton and Upton Railroad. So, but he has, and as you said, that it seems to be a thing in motion. Initially, when he got his permission, to do what he did to the house, his plan was like a B&B. But then, so now, let's see, this would be 3 children later. It's his home.
And in my experience, his plans could change next week. He could say, okay, well, one is grown up, right? One was in the service.
Yeah, he's in the Air Force.
Yeah, yeah. I just think that you never know what his plans just seem to change, and I still think it's possible but I've been through it a couple of times, and it is pretty amazing. But with 12 bedrooms, it's
Yeah, the permit was for I think 11 bedrooms was the size is how they sized the septic system. So it was going to be 8 in the house and 3 in the carriage house.
right.
But then he decided, as things progressed, to have the honeymoon building, honeymoon suite, which is
Yeah.
a small building way off in the corner, closest to the water.
Right.
So that's 1 bedroom, 2 in the carriage barn,
Yeah.
and then the 8 in the mansion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I actually attended the Christmas concert that he had in the chapel a year ago,
Uh-huh.
and it was absolutely mind blowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I mean I've lived there for a long time. Well, I grew up on Main Street, so
Right.
I knew Mrs. Garfield. I knew Mr. Garfield.
Uh-huh.
And to see it transformed into what it kind of used to be, and even better in many ways.
Yeah, it's sure been through a lot. I got some photographs from Abe Garfield. And did you know him?
Oh yeah.
And he sent photographs of what it was like when his mother lived there. And I'd heard mixed reviews, but to me it was beautiful inside.
Who was the last inhabitant before all this? Like back in the, say, 80s, 90s, 1990? There was somebody that lived in there then.
Yeah, that was
Mrs. Garfield lived there until
Morphe,
I
right?
think 2009.
That was still
Right.
Garfield?
Yeah, she was our neighbor.
Yeah.
She used to, she always had some help toward the end. And they'd wheel her out to the driveway that comes out onto Deerfoot Road, put a blanket over her, and she'd wave and people would, hi, Mrs. Garfield,
Yeah.
how you doing? And she was wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
No,
I hear.
I think right up until around 2009, or maybe a little bit later, she lived there. I mean, that huge house, and it's just one. She had, help. And,
Right.
Jenny
Yeah,
Martin,
I think she just lived down in the downstairs area.
yeah, she had a full-time friend of mine who lived further up on West Main Street. Lived there and was basically her caretaker for
Uh-huh.
full time, and then Timmy got sick and then he died. So I don't know all the details, but there was a time there when Mrs. Garfield just sit out there and watch the world go by, and everybody would, they knew who she was, like we did. They would stop and take a half hour to get by the house. 'Cause she
No kidding.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Wow, I've heard about her. I never met her.
I live in one of the farmhouses,
Right,
and
Yeah.
when you mentioned Edward,
yeah,
being interested in designing farm layouts for more upscale,
yeah,
fancy. And I think what may have inspired him was when they built my house
uh-huh.
and saw how austere it was. I said, we got to do better than this.
How austere your house?
Yeah, there's 3 closets in the house, and
Woo-hoo.
two of them are like this.
Uh-huh. I
Because
guess farm hands didn't wear
they had the
much of
Sunday
a change of
clothes,
clothes.
Sunday go to meeting
Yeah,
clothes, and then they had the farm clothes. Yeah. Yeah. We're still finding stuff. Pieces of barbed wire, chunks of
yeah,
the blacksmith shop is in my backyard, but it collapsed.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
With the hearth. No.
I see, that was part of the farm?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. It's always more to find out.
Horseshoes. We still
Yeah.
finding horseshoes. Yeah.
Yeah, I have pictures of the old Deerfoot farm when it was just across Stony Brook from the house. And then I've got pictures of taken during the demolition, which was in the 1890s.
For the reservoir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was a real treasure trove. I don't know how widely it's known, but when the reservoir was being built, it's like every square inch of the land from the whole length of the reservoir system was photographed, was documented in these gorgeous, these amazing photographs.
If you they did it since I remember about maybe 15 or 20 years ago. They stopped the flow through that over the dam and everything. They just shut it right off, and it was there's a lot of natural runoff that keeps what used to be the old Stony Brook
Yep.
flowing. But at this time, they shut it all off, and it dried up.
I
Almost
remember
completely.
that.
And what was revealed was these stones that lined the original channel of Stony Brook,
Uh-huh.
and it starts right there at the waterfall,
Mm-hmm.
and it goes down to a Parkerville Road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, the riprap, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
but it wasn't much wider than this table.
the brook. Yeah,
And then when they built the dam, it flooded everything.
right.
But the old original Stony Brook layout and stones
Mm-hmm.
for a portion between Deerfoot and Parkerville, they're still there.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing everything with us. And
Sure.
That was great.
For offering
Thank
to share it
you.
with the community
Yeah.
too.
Thank
Well,
you.
We'll probably be checking in with you.
Yeah.
Over time and seeing your availability and also any new pieces that you wanted to make part of the presentation.
Yeah, if you have any thoughts about that, because the scope is a little bit wider now. It's not just about saving the house. So it can, but just the history of Southborough, like any town, just has so much.
When you put this presentation on before, how many people attended? Roughly.
There were a lot of people at the senior center because it was well advertised, and there was the Deerfoot Farm breakfast, and Al Bazanson made sure he got just the right sausages. He didn't go to Jimmy Dean. He went to a had them specially made. So anyway, that word got out, and that he and I were both going to be presenting. And
Was there more than 100 people?
probably not. But then at the library, I would say 75 or more. It was
Wow.
it was pretty very well attended.
So
And-
we could have your event at the Tricentennial school or at Woodward where they have, room for hundreds.
Yeah. Yeah, there were, when I did it for Preservation Massachusetts, I would say there were about 200 people.
Those facilities have, the ability to, they got the screen. So if you had that, like you said, you have a slideshow.
Right,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah, and that would have to be carefully worked out. For Preservation Massachusetts, I had to send it, or download it for them so that they could get it into their equipment so that they knew there wouldn't be any snafus at the last minute. That would, because every time, different people's computers and so on.
Sounds like Trotter would be the great venue, especially that's where Deerfoot
Yeah.
Farm is.
Yeah.
So you're sitting on Deerfoot Farm
Mhm.
now.
That's right.
Yeah, before they built Trotter, my wife and I and our son Matthew,
Yeah.
yeah, we were very familiar because it used to be a huge cornfield that
Mm-hmm.
the local farmer used to plant. And so anyways, there was an oak tree in the middle of all the pastures.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And so we went there, we knew it was gonna be cut down. And it was kind of getting a little bit over the hill anyways. And so we took a picture of it, which we still have. And one with just the tree and the fields all around it. And one with just the tree, fields all around it. And our 2-year-old son sitting there.
Yeah.
But if you look at the Trotter logo, it's that tree.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That's
Yeah.
nice.
Because Brent Trotter lived right there
Yeah,
before they
Yeah.
built.
yeah.
Okay,
I think it's a great idea. Thank you.
Yeah, so do I.
You're welcome. And at this point, it can change, it can morph, and I tend to get other ideas of would it be great to have a history scavenger hunt around town or
Yeah.
just
So Debbie, I have a question.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a coworker or somebody that works with you that knows all this stuff?
knows all what stuff.
Everything that you learned and all your presentations and everything? Do you have a vice president?
Oh, it's just me as my own private Southborough person.
Yeah.
That I just there was the Friends of the Burnett Garfield House, and we each had different parts of it, but that group is not together. We mission accomplished. So yeah,
do you have one of these?
Maybe you need.
I do on my car already.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, if there's nothing else, we'll move on.
Thank you very much.
to the agenda.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
Okay, next item on the agenda is to approve the meeting minutes of October 8th and November 12th. We'll do October 8th first, motion, we'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion
To approve the minutes
to approve the minutes of,
as written.
as written, November, what was it, November?
No,
12th,
October 8th.
October 8th. Sorry.
Motion's been made. Second. Oh, good. Somebody seconded. Any questions or comments? Patty had some revisions which we incorporated. If there's nothing else, all in favor, 5-0. And
Do you want to ask Jamie to vote? He's online.
oh, I didn't see Jamie. Where is he?
Guys, I'm here, but I'm sick, so I'm just listening in.
Uh, hope you get better.
So I,
All right. And entertain the motion for November 12th.
So these have to be roll call because Jamie's gonna.
Yeah, okay, let's go back to October 8th. Meeting minutes as written, the motion was made and seconded. All in favor, Morris, aye.
Bennington, I.
Wilkins and I.
Aldershot, I.
I do too.
I,
Okay, 6-0. Now November 12th.
Move that we approve the November 12th, 2025 minutes.
Second,
Motion's been made and seconded. Any comments? You got my comments, right?
Yeah.
Hearing none, all in favor, Morris, aye.
Bennington, I.
Wilkins and yes.
Aldershot, I.
Hang on.
Jamie?
yep, I.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the status of the working groups. Any additional event suggestions? We did have one, that I got in an email, and I think, did I share it with everybody yet? It was, when, Washington, needed the cannons for, Bunker Hill, and, General Ward marched the cannons down Main Street here to Boston. The cannons were pulled by oxen. So a suggestion was, through an email to me, to try to get a team of oxen and at least one cannon to participate in the parade. So that might be a challenge to get that, but it would certainly tie everything into the monument that's been on Main Street forever. So, anybody whose plate isn't full yet, want to work on that?
Can we, I mean,
That sounds like a parade
Yeah.
committee thing.
is that possible?
I mean,
to
I'm
get
happy to work on it, but I don't know where to start.
Neither does the parade committee.
oxen?
You want to give it a try there,
Sure.
Eric?
Yeah.
There might be a little
What
bit
did I
more.
just get myself in?
You're gonna be looking for some oxen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Canada.
I know,
Probably
I've been to Lexington on April 19th, you know, Lexington and Concord, and they have some beautiful cannons that they have right there in town. I think they're pulled like horses, but so I guess we'll see what we can do. But I thought it was a great idea.
When's the parade?
Vote for the parade, yeah.
The parade is September, is it?
It's
When?
October
October.
I think it's October.
October 2027. But as part of the parade thing, no, it's part of the what is it? Well, we'll get to it. Okay.
I think it's
And,
a great idea.
so we can move forward with that idea,
Yep.
the parade committee, okay?
Sounds good.
And Michelle, you had,
I do, yeah. So last meeting, I did present a couple of different ideas and I was able to give more details about possibly a project to tour St. Mark's and do an ice cream an ice skating party there. I asked the committee if they would be interested in having our working group also explore something at Face School. We had a great meeting this week with Erin Sullivan, who's the director of communications, and she had many ideas and also some opportunities to offer us, which is great. So I'm just going to kind of list out some things that she brainstormed to sort of say, here's what we could offer. And I'd love to get any preliminary feedback from the committee to see what might be interesting. So she could do a history talk about the Face School. She has it sort of already worked on. It's about 30 minutes and it's stories of the school, the history makers there, and with pictures and images. They have a room with on display letters from every US president, which she said is a real draw, and interest at the school. They could potentially do a story time collaborative event. So if we felt like we wanted to put in the mix something to appeal to children and younger families, they have someone at the school who could do, excuse me, like a story time, and then some hands-on activities, like we could bring our coloring pages or do some type of historic related craft. Then also, we could use several of their different spaces at any time. So she offered up their theater space, which holds 400, and made the suggestion that there's the Moth Oral History Program, which I believe is organized through NPR, but potentially we want to incorporate them if we wanted to sort of capitalize on drawing a larger audience for something like that. That space could also be used for any type of like arts or music presentation. So if like Julia Perez is able to succeed with her project and find the music of Southborough, and we needed a venue to present that, that space could be available. Also, if we wanted to draw like the current student musicians of Southborough to present, that's available. They have a maker space, which could be open to the public for an afternoon. So that's a space that has like 3D printers and some really cool other design tools. So we could sort of have a project that people could come in and kind of make something historic. She also thought that there could be the opportunity to engage their service learning coordinator if we wanted student volunteers to help work on our oral history projects. Their 8th and 9th graders could be available to do something like that. Their kindergartners do a whole program learning about Southborough. So if we wanted to connect with them, just again for like our promotion and education purposes. And there was also their 9th grade history class, which does a lot of local history looking from 1940 to present. So they may be able to like contribute a project to us if we wanted to collaborate with them to explore something. So there were a lot of very interesting ideas that came out of the meeting. I think as our working group talked afterwards, certainly like helping, if we want to work on different projects and want to engage them, I think those are all available to us. But probably doing something like the history talk and or like a story time activity with our youngest population in town felt like the two ideas that kind of, made the most sense for our calendar mix. But I would very much welcome any initial feedback or ideas or anything you want us to keep
There's a lot
exploring.
there.
There was a lot there. It was
Yeah.
exciting. Yeah, it was and
That
generous,
they
very
added,
generous. Yeah.
Yeah, for example, that kindergarten thing could be great for the younger kids to get exposed to the history.
Exactly.
I think we have a couple of things that, historic things like the town hall for coloring too. I think that there's,
We do have coloring pages.
yes, coloring pages already.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Mhm.
that's great.
I think I agree. I liked everything you said, and I agree that the things that you suggested would be the things to focus on are the things to focus on.
Okay. Great. And truly, like for the oral history, if it's helpful to have.
So right now, Terry, who is generously volunteering to work with me, she's actually inquiring about the students at Trotter because the studio is right there.
Great.
For them to actually be involved and be interviewing. So I don't know. We'll talk about it when I get to my little presentation. If it becomes larger, that would be great. But at the moment, that was her plan. I don't find out next Friday when we get back together.
Okay, good. Well, we'll keep working on this and I'll have more information to share.
Michelle, the venue space that she mentioned, is it the Ranky building? Did they,
She
Get
didn't give
into
me the
that
name of
detail?
the building, so I'm
Okay.
not sure.
I think the music part would be interesting too, especially if Julia got something. I think that would be amazing, again, for people to come to Bay School just to tour it, just to see what the town of Southborough has.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, there's, as I found out, when I initially got the proposal from St. Mark's about doing the tour there are many residents who have not had the opportunity to get onto either campus, and there's a lot of interest and curiosity.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think those would both be well.
And we have so few venue spaces outside of the school auditoriums to do anything at a larger scale. So I think that.
I think
part
that's
is-
also very valuable. It's just.
Yeah.
If the school is willing to. And, one of these auditoriums for something even just like what Debbie was
Yeah.
talking about.
Yes,
Yeah.
Right.
yes.
Even the ice skating, I know that it used to be very popular when St. Mark's did the ice skating during Christmas break.
The
It was
vacation
very well
weeks, yeah.
attended.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, good. Thank you.
That's really huge progress.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Not just,
Thank you.
yeah.
not just opening a dialogue with Faye, but so many things, do half of them. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get them ticked off.
All
I
right,
think,
that's
Yeah.
great,
Yeah.
Michelle.
I think the nice thing about these is that there's not a lot of components to organizing these events, and a lot of things are
They
already.
don't cost a lot of money.
They don't cost money,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So I
Right.
feel really confident that we can get these going. So, again, this is another piece like Deb said, we'll have to get a sense of when they could fit into the calendar.
Mhm.
Would that have to be when the school is not in session or
No, they,
weekends or?
I didn't hear that feedback. They, in terms of like a physical walking tour, they don't have as many existing historic spaces as St. Mark's
Mhm.
does. So St. Mark's makes sense to do the walking tour.
Mhm.
For Faye, we were really getting the sense that it probably makes more sense to just do the history talk and see some of the more of the pictures of what it used to look like, because it's harder to even go into the buildings. Maybe, couple that with like a reception in the dining hall, because that's an existing
Mhm.
historic space from the 1920s. So if we're able to, again, depending
How
on like
large is the
day
dining
and
hall
time.
area?
I think it accommodates most of their student bodies, so,
I'd say in excess of 100 at least.
yes,
We've had
exactly,
some
yeah.
events over there over the years. They've hosted retirement parties and things like that for us before. So it's a pretty big space.
Okay, I was just thinking,
Yeah.
I know that there was talk about a gala before.
Oh. I don't know about that there, but yeah.
Well, their gym space is actually very sizable.
It's-
So, I mean, you could have a gala in there.
I don't know
St.
where.
Mark's does have a gallery space too, that probably could be, it's more modern,
Mhm.
it's not historic, but,
Mhm.
if anyone's taken on a gala yet.
Any other additional event suggestions? If not, we'll move on to a community barbecue and music festival. That's Keith has got that one, right?
He was online, but I do not see him anymore.
Well, maybe he'll come back.
Mhm.
But I think the committee has great confidence in having that in the hands of Keith. Yeah, okay. Drone show. There was some talk with me recently about having perhaps the drone show, having the fireworks supersizing summer nights. I think we're kind of leaning strong in that direction. So when would we have the drone show? And possibly look into having that on first night or first night on the next day, or first night on the, because it's a long weekend. So, Andrew, is that something that you could, uh, eh, probably in the near future, but if we have the drone show on first night, that's 55 weeks away.
Yes, yes, sir. So thinking, yeah, I'm happy to work on it. So we want to do it on December 31st or December 31st, 2026 or January 1st, 2027.
I think, Michelle, you were saying that a lot of people already have plans for New Year's Eve.
Yeah, I think the first would be a better, I mean, this is just personal,
Yeah,
just because people are going out, they're going to dinner, they're, making arrangements for the kids, that maybe as a family event, it might be better attended on the Friday, which is the first.
All right.
And then if the weather's bad, we could maybe have it going
I
to
think the
Saturday.
thing I have to do is we talked last time this came up, we talked about the Friends group has looked at this as an event where they'd be looking to have it like a marquee or key sponsor, be like Friends sponsor this, right? So I just have to go back and talk to the Friends group about to coordinate with them, see if we can find a donor for that. And then, because that also dictates the size, because I remember we last talked about this, there are many different price points for this.
Yeah, the price and also the availability or the willingness of the drone company to take a chance in early January if they do that.
Right, the other thing that I was thinking, if you did it on New Year's Eve, these drone companies are probably already booked for New Year's Eve. That it would be a
So
possible.
better to do it on January 1st.
So do we think there's an attendance issue though, because it's going to be cold? People aren't going to want to be out.
It might be, but I mean, this could be a relatively brief show, right? And like the first night events that Dawn is talking about, I don't think we're looking like probably I've been before to the first night in Chatham. I'm probably gonna go there this year. I don't see we're not gonna be able to do anything like that.
Yeah.
But if you had something where you would hold it kind of close to the center of town, right? The part where you could gather on the field and see it. And there's I mean, if you went and it would only be like 15 or 20 minutes or so of the whole show, but I think it could work. You may need to have like work to see if you can get like a rain date or snow date if it didn't work. But
wind.
I mean, the main thing is something that would be kind of dramatic that would mark this is the beginning of the Tricentennial.
Yes, I agree. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Very dramatic and just getting the crowd.
Yeah, and you could see, maybe if your house is open, you have hot cocoa there or something. No, you can make an event out of it, right?
I have to tell you that it was pretty cold in Boston. There were thousands of people there.
Yeah, I've been to, for outdoor things in Boston in winter. I was for the tree lighting they had for last week. It was the coldest night of the and there they had like a concert with that. I was just going into the parking garage where I parked to leave for the day, and I was surprised how many people were exiting because they were going to the tree lighting. So I guess to the point of, cold can deter some people, but it doesn't. It's such a unique thing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, absolutely.
And we're New Englanders, we're used to it. You wear a hat, gloves.
Right.
What would be the location?
I don't know. But I'm sure we can figure that out.
That's part of the research that I think that Andrew's gonna do is, if they say, well, the highest we go is 100 feet,
Criteria.
then you're gonna be close. But if they go up 1,000 feet, you can watch it from here. If it was at Trident.
Yeah, exactly. So it's probably I can think it would be more fun if it took place right around here, right in the
I
center,
agree.
as opposed to in the middle of the night going to the eerie, trottier fields, which
Well,
Very-
the time too,
very
because
dark
it's pitch black out at 6 o'clock.
yeah, so that works in our favor.
Yeah.
That works in our favor.
Yeah.
What do you think about adding a twist where you have a contest for best photos taken in the drone show?
Yeah,
That might cause a lot more people to want to turn out and take photo and take a shot at something like that, just to add a little
Different.
spice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to figure out what to get if they win.
So the drone show is back on the front burner.
all right.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea,
Yeah.
actually.
Very fun.
Provincetown is doing one on New Year's Eve for the first time.
Oh, interesting.
So you talked about before about a bonfire too. Is that off the
No, if you look further
off the
down,
agenda?
oh, I thought it was on here.
Bonfire
No, I'm gonna talk about
agenda.
that.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Spicy.
yeah, bonfire is 5C.
Okay.
Historic events, oral history project, graveyard tour. I was talking with Patty today. She's a little bit under the weather, that's why she's not here, but we did have a nice talk. And there may be some discussion about a better name for that event.
So that was we just talked about it. We actually thought like it was voices from the grave was initially, and I actually talked to my working group and I actually came up with a lot of names, but I feel that Sally and Deb are on the committee and they're awesome and they really want to think about the name. So
Okay, that's it.
we have a bunch of names floating around there.
Anything else on that one?
Yeah, so we met actually last night and they are so enthusiastic. I feel very fortunate that they have found this. And we are going to meet tomorrow again. We're going to mark out the sites of some of the people that we chose because we want to make sure that they're not like right on top of each other. So we want to be able to have like a conversation here that's not going to interrupt this. So Sally has a map of the OBG and we're going to go walk that tomorrow just to try to finalize who it is we're going to host, for those things. So we have, I think like 7 or 8 people, but I think that that's still very fluid who we're going to memorialize. And we've also contacted Skyrise Theater and they have volunteered to work with us to provide some of the costumes if they have them, the right size for the actors. And the other thing is I put together a little ad to try to get out to the town of Southborough to try to recruit actors. So we're waiting for the newsletter to go out and I think that things are really moving forward in that and I'm pretty excited about all of that. So that's the graveyard. And the oral history is also moving. It's a little bit slower and the studio was down for quite some time and we actually have some scheduled for next Friday. So,
Great.
One person or more?
we have one person, but I'm gonna go knock on somebody else's door. He actually had been scheduled before, but he couldn't find us. So I'm gonna see if he's available. So that would be 2 people.
Okay.
So, I mean, slowly. And I was actually thinking, when she spoke about Deerfoot Farm, Bob Dillard, I mean, how many people in the town actually work there? I mean, employed everybody. So anyway, so oral history is still, I keep sending the emails to people and usually the dates don't work. So we'll keep trying. And Terry has been very, very flexible. And she is trying to get the Trotia students involved because they're doing some projects too, for them actually to do the interviews.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Move on to the next one then,
Can I
which
just
is
ask
the house tour.
Can I just ask, what was the timeline for the graveyard tour dates?
November 6th, I think.
It's already set. Okay, great.
So we had discussed on having it in the evening. We thought in the dark. And they actually made a really good point that there's so many dangerous places if you have it in the dark, because we were thinking to have, solar lights. And they just said that, there's tree branches, I mean, that the OBG is probably not the place to have that without any risk of people. So they were thinking 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
House tour.
I think Patty
That's
had
Patty,
information.
Yeah, I think we're at the point where they're going to narrow down that and make specific addresses are official.
Great.
And then the parade, the parade working group hopefully will meet. We haven't met in months because what comes first, the parade or the money for the parade? But we'll be putting that together, and then the people that we had talked to before thought that 2027 was like light years away. So, but once we get into 2026, they'll be filling their calendars.
Yeah.
The brick fundraiser. I spoke with Jenny Martins, and she gave me an update. We'll be doing a townwide postcard mailing for the brick fundraiser as well, but we have sold about 100 to date. Pretty good. Fundraising. She updated and said that the elite circle of sponsorships level is $50,000, and there are, I think, 5 possible people of entities that would be at that level. And then we have 2 $25,000 pinnacle sponsors, 5 community champion sponsorships at $10,000, and 3 of the community champion sponsors have paid in full, and 2 out of the 3 pledges from Falcone Energy have been paid. So the money's starting to appear.
Yes,
And it's encouraging. We'll see what happens after the new year. The newsletter, talked to Patty about that today, and she's aware that it's a lot of work, and try to fit it in the near future. That other matters properly before the committee. Update on display banners. That is being worked. We at our last meeting we showed the beautiful banners that we had. We talked about other possibilities, and it's still being discussed at I think at the town hall relative to the proper way to have it be done. Relative to the sign bylaw. So we'll be updating that real soon. The hayride. I contacted a farm in Tewksbury, right off of 495, and they do hayrides. And they're horse-drawn hayrides. It's not tractors. Well, they may have tractors too. So I had a long talk with the guy, and they have not booked anything in 2027. So once we get into 2026, I'll revisit that. And they have done, they do hay rides at their farm, but they also go off site, like to town. And one of the questions was, do you do you have the hay rides on just public roads, paved roads, or do you go, off into trails or whatever? And not, they won't put the horses out into a field because there could be, woodchuck holes and stuff. But I think if we have appeals, I think there's enough. There may be some areas where you could have a vehicle pass, and so if a vehicle could pass, then pulling the hay wagon would be safe for the horses. So there's different options that it sounded like it's right up our alley to have someone like them or them do maybe certainly one, but maybe more if they're popular. They said they do them in the winter.
Oh.
They do them anytime. They even do them in the rain. Said. So a hayride in the wintertime, I know most of us have probably done that. It's kind of cool. You all huddled on those hay bales and going through the different. If it's on a road, then I think they said each hayride could be up to maybe a half hour. So it could be a daytime thing, could be an evening thing, mostly daytime. But if you had them on a road, you may have to either close the road or have the cops on either end.
Chestnut Hill.
Yeah, Chestnut Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was very pleased. I think we could have those, depending on funding, and how much they cost, but at least maybe one a quarter. Have one in the winter, maybe one in the spring or in the summer, and then
I
another
would just say
one in
about
the
the
fall.
winter is since the pressure is on me from the drone show. It's the first of the year. I mean, I'd like to take the first out of land at the funds for my event before speedy rights.
I feel like we could charge people for.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we can charge people to hear them.
Absolutely.
Such a
Absolutely.
personal experience.
Yeah, because we had talked about this with Patty and I and Jenny and Kathy Cook about once the money we have a pot of money, is it going to be a free for all, or are we going to sit down and prioritize the funding and the amounts so that the working groups will know, okay, you've got 15,000 to get this done or get it started.
Right.
You got 5,000. You got 50,000. And then the rest of us, whoever gets the money, you work toward that. But yeah, we can't have it won't be a free for all. And Andrew, I'm glad you said that because 55 weeks.
There's still on your hero money. You need to mind.
So he's limiting you to one hay
One
ride.
hay ride with one horse.
One horse. One horse.
Okay.
And would there be like something around it in terms of it being like part of a community day or historic or just an experience?
Well, you could try to couple it with the drone show.
Road show is going to be really.
Okay, that's gonna be the focus. All right.
Could the hay ride be at the cemeteries?
The hay ride through the cemetery
Could it be?
might lose a few people on the way, but
I don't know, it's paved roads and it's,
yeah,
Oh,
no
across
traffic.
At the
Yeah,
rural
not
cemetery.
definitely not the old burial.
Okay, so
No,
the
no,
rural-
no, no,
the
no.
rural cemetery.
yeah. I think that would be.
yeah, I think as that, but the hay ride thing matures. It used to just be,
You do the hay ride and then walk across the street for the drone show.
when we used to have Fireman's Field Day right out here on Choke Field. It was fire trucks. They had the pump truck, the union pump trucks with the competition, the grease pole, grease pig, and they had hay rides all day, all afternoon.
Across the street.
And no, it was the two stone gates out here. The hayride would originate inside those, and once it was full, that was it. You had to wait and turn. The hay wagon would go out onto Route 85. It would go down to the beginning of the reservoir. There's an area there and the the hayride would actually turn around in the road and come back. So it was like maybe a 10 or 15 minute hayride and go back through those arches there, the gate, and turn around in the field. Everyone get out. Another bunch of kids get back in. But it was done on the pavement with Bob Seeley's mules and his hay wagon, which had rubber tires.
Does that connect it more to like what's happening at the fireman's muster? Or that day, or
It could. I mean, it sounds like the hayride thing could be an add-on or a standalone.
Okay.
Yeah, and then if it's like a standalone, you could have it. Let's say if we had it at Chestnut Hill, you'd have the hot chocolate or you'd have the cold drinks, in the pavilion there, and then you get your hayride, and it could go all afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, bonfire. I've contacted the town of Groton, and I was told that they are going to do a bonfire in January, but they haven't picked the date yet. So hopefully I, myself, and others from town may go, and once we learn where it is, it might be fun to go and watch, see how they do it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So we'll keep up with that, but that would be, if we did the drone show on the first night or first weekend, then the bonfire would be later in January because we'd be collecting the Christmas trees. So two kind of cool high visibility events in January. A big kickoff for the year.
Dawn, Jamie put a little note in the chat if we could just circle back to the National Guard letter at some point too.
Right.
Okay, good.
Yes. Yeah, I should have brought that up during the parade thing. All right, first night, first day. Anything new on that? Other than what we already talked about.
Yeah, I think it's awesome.
I had two small ideas for whatever first day looks like. I know a couple of us were just sort of brainstorming about how there's the turkey trot that happens in town. It's like a nice exercise activity, and often people sort of kicking off the new year, making that healthy commitment, and not to be potentially redundant with a 5K. But what about the idea if we did something like kicking it off with a yoga morning and using one of the gym spaces? And we do have a sponsor already with Theracopia who does yoga. So that might be something that's sort of, you could bring a mat, you could bring a towel. Like, it doesn't have to be like a full-on high intensity yoga. It could be a gentle, low impact yoga. But that was one kind of idea for that day. And the second was, I don't know if everybody is keeping up and reading the Did You Know posts, but last week I posted about the Nipmuc tribe, which were the original indigenous people known in this on this land. And a year or so ago, I had the opportunity to go to a land acknowledgement. It was a very simple event. It was very short. It was there was a tribesman who sort of led this prepared speech that he had, but it was really kind of just a recognition that these indigenous people were the original stewards of the land, and kind of offering an opportunity to reconcile and respect that, and then also providing like a very positive way to move forward from the moment of colonization and the town being incorporated. So I thought that might be also a nice way to start the year and kind of start the conversation for this.
So Lisa Braccio has an interest in this also. She is a member of the planning board. She used to be a member of the select board. So she's talked about trying to do something in this area too. So I think she'd be very interested in chatting with you about that.
Can you say her name again?
Lisa Braccio, Braccio.
Okay, great.
And I can put you in contact with her, Michelle.
Okay, great. Because the Midwest tribe does still exist.
Grafton, right?
Well, because they were really in across many what are now current towns, I don't know that they have a particular,
I think there's.
Yeah, also, there's,
Grafton,
I
but
don't remember his name.
that they
He's on
have a
the show.
tribal council.
Mhm.
No, there's another person whose name I'm remembering.
Oh, okay, from the,
From South,
from Southborough, who's connected to the tribe. Or just
who
was
would be
interested.
able to connect me?
Okay, great.
If you
So-
find out, he must be able to optimize.
So he must have had trouble with the link.
On.
So, I'm sorry, Andrew, did you mention at the state level? Part of one of my duties when I was working for the government was cultural resource manager, and part of that was to have an open dialogue with the local Indians. And I think it was at least twice, maybe more, myself, a consultant, and a Native American who was also, I think, in the military. We met at in Boston at the Executive Office of Indian Affairs. And you know, they've got it all. They know it all. So if you're working it from this level up, you can also go and work from the executive office down. One of the things that we learned was, and it's part of the cultural difference, and it's very, very respectful, is Indian time. So we went there and we had a 2:00 appointment. 2:00 comes and goes, 2:15, 20 minutes to 3, 10 minutes to 3, we get to go in and see the Commissioner of Indian Affairs. Forget the exact title, but it was wonderful, very, very professional, and culturally very educational. The way they manage it. So I'll just throw that out. Executive Office of the Indian Affairs. Unless I change them.
Is there any idea sort of about timing for the day or other programming for the day that would want to have this be a part of or build upon it, or do you see the day like unfolding with different things scattered throughout the day?
Honestly, I've not given any thought to it,
Yeah.
but I think it's the first things first.
Yeah.
If we could get this drone show set, and then you can just kind of work backwards. Yeah. Things that don't really cost a lot of money or have a huge organizational or logistical, issue. I think can be, dealt with after you get the first piece of the puzzle, right?
The drone guys might say, well, in these other towns, they had this before the drone show. They may have ideas about what worked and what doesn't.
Okay.
But I agree. Let's lock in the drone show and the flexibility component, hopefully, and then match that up with something while it's still daylight.
Yeah.
I also feel that we are obligated to have something about the Nipmuc tribe in our tricentennial celebration, so.
Makes sense to me for sure.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to the Arts Council grant and the letter of support for Juliana Perez. I looked in the packet. I didn't see it there. Could you
It was in the amendments.
would you be able to read it?
Sure. It's addressed to the Southborough Cultural Arts Council dated November 16th, 2025. Dear Chair Hausner and members of the Southborough Cultural Arts Council, on behalf of the Southborough Tricentennial Committee, I'm writing to express our strong support for Juliana Perez's grant application for her project, The History of Southborough in Music. As our community prepares for the 2027 Tricentennial celebration, we are actively seeking projects that highlight and honor the cultural, historical, and artistic heritage of our town. Ms. Perez's proposal aligns exceptionally well with these goals. The Tricentennial Committee has been in conversation with Ms. Perez and is pleased to confirm that we are committed to partnering with her on this project. Her plan to research Southborough's musical history and present it to the public represents an innovative and meaningful contribution to the Tricentennial's mission of celebrating the town's past, present, and future. Ms. Perez has already taken concrete steps to initiate this collaboration, and we are enthusiastic about moving forward together. We believe her work will greatly enrich the cultural vitality of Southborough and provide a lasting artistic contribution to this milestone celebration. Please feel free to contact the Tricentennial Committee should you need any additional information or clarification. Best regards, Patricia Burns-Fiore.
Okay. Is Keith still here?
Yeah, hey, Don, I'm here. I've logged in under Patty Fiore's account, so.
Yeah, we skipped over you on the barbecue and music festival. So you're on.
Okay, yeah, happy to provide an update. Just a couple of things. My main focus right now is trying to get, kind of the concept and the framework pulled together, so then we can start filling some things in. And since our last meeting, I did reach out and speak with the agent for Storm Large in case we want to have a headliner. And I'm just kind of getting some feelers out to her to see whether she would be interested in somehow participating in the music festival, either as a headline performer, a guest performer, or even just doing a guest appearance somehow. So I'm waiting to hear back from her agent, who I had a good conversation with about that. So I'll have more to provide, hopefully, in our next meeting on that. I've also had some discussions with Ginny about looking for Ginny Martins. That is, we could have a sponsor for the stage, maybe reaching out to Bose as well for sound equipment. So that's work in progress. I did have a couple of questions or kind of thoughts for the committee that I'd like to get a little bit of input on. The main one is I know on the agenda it's listed as the music festival and community barbecue. Dawn or other committee members, did you have any sort of ideas around the barbecue piece of it, or I was kind of leaning towards food trucks, which would preclude us from having to do as much planning and everything else about having like a chicken barbecue. But is that something that you want to include in this, or is that a separate event?
I think the last time we talked about it, we were leaning toward the food trucks.
Okay.
It gives much more variety, and it's simple for us because you just tell them to show up and they open up the trucks and takes care of itself.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to confirm that. That's my thinking as well. And then I'm not sure. One of the things I want to approach the town on is whether they'd be open to allowing some kind of a alcoholic beverage license for maybe a little beer garden or something like that during the concert. Maybe we could get one of the local brew houses or something like that to set something up. I know they did that in Westboro last year, and it seemed like it was pretty well organized and pretty tame. So I may at some point approach the town about that. I don't know if anybody's got any thoughts on that or not.
You could also reference that the Rotary Club did the Oktoberfest with the beer garden, if you needed another example of a successful town event.
Yeah, and I guess I was thinking about that. That happened to be on St. Mark's property, though, right? It was at the gazebo.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, I'm going to pursue that unless people have a objection to it.
Responsible.
No objection.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
So-
Well, a one day beer, alcohol license.
Yeah, right, right. And then I did want to get, and Don, you can send this to me separately if you might, is Juliana Perez's contact information. When I left the meeting the last time, she'd expressed interest in helping out with the festival, and I just don't have any contact information for her. So if you have her email or something like that, I'd appreciate getting that from you.
I think we
Will
all
do.
have our email.
Okay,
We'll get it to you, Keith.
super. So, any questions for me?
You think you're making good progress, Keith?
I think so. I feel pretty good about this because, if I in working with the plan to work with the rec department, they've got a pretty good template for how to do all the logistics for this. And once I get the framework and the final concept done, I think we're pretty close on that. It's really more a matter of plugging some things in. And I've got a list of bands that have Southborough connections. I want to think through this. If we can get a headliner like a Storm Large, that might be a really nice thing to add here. But the rest of it, I think we can really just focus on, the stage and the musical acts, and then enhancing perhaps the food and things that are going on around this. I also appreciate the input I got on maybe some names for the festival. There was a list of those submitted by Michelle after our last call, and I got a few more in. So I think I'm feeling pretty good about getting this event rolling.
All good. Sounds good.
Okay.
Any questions, comments for Keith? We'll see you at our next meeting, which I think we got it on here as tentatively January 14th, which is the second Wednesday.
Okay.
January.
Um,
We'll lock that up later tonight.
Yeah, and hopefully I'll be able to go in person. A side note, I really wasn't sure how to join. I joined earlier this evening, but it was through the town website, and I was didn't have any. I don't think you guys could see me that I was joined, or I couldn't use chat or anything else. So maybe there's a way down the road if somebody can't make a meeting. It's on one of the working groups. We can get a participant code. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just didn't know how to do it. So, all right, I'm gonna sign off. If there's no further questions.
Thank you, Keith.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
We'll sit here. Okay, next item, we cut out the letter. The department, actually, there's a few more. The legacy tree planting, we talked about that at our last meeting or the meeting before that, where a town has 8 villages planted a tricentennial tree in each of their villages. So talked about this at the last meeting, and I think it was well received. So what I've done is I've located a local certified arborist who happens to be my son, and asked him if he would. He works at Western Nurseries. He's in the industry, and he graduated from UMass with all that stuff. So I asked him if he would take this and run with it, and he said he would. So the next step, I think, with that would be to huddle with the town tree warden. And have some discussions with DPW, and then hopefully select locations in each of the villages for the tree to be planted, and the proper tree for that location. And then I think at the last meeting we talked about a plaque that would identify the tree as a tricentennial tree in that village. So everything. Most of that would be done by this committee, but the legwork to coordinate with the tree warden and hopefully getting the proper locations for a tree to survive would be done by my son Matthew. And he'd report back to us on, I don't know, he was thinking instead of just maybe one proposed location for the village, that couple of locations would be identified as possible places to plant the tree, and then maybe have a select board, the DPW, or the neighbors decide, which of these 2 or 3 great places would be selected. Someplace where the tree would survive and the plaque wouldn't disappear. Right.
Sounds great. Yeah.
Okay.
So
My son's name is Matthew. Okay, legacy tree. And then time capsule. This has come up a couple of times over our meetings. And so now that we have a fresh horse on the committee.
I'm being voluntold again.
Would you be willing to do the research on that, Eric?
Sure.
It's strange. I mean, we've looked into it at a certain distance, and it's all over the place. What towns have done from nothing to different time capsule sizes. Do you decide on the size and then that limits what can go in it, or do you decide what's going to go in it, and that drives what size and shape and material?
I've done some legwork on that I can share with you, Eric.
That'd be great. I mean, I think one place to start is just learn what other people did and see what all the options are. And
yeah, there's a ton of info out there. It's almost confusing. There's so many different ways it's done, but and it's probably going to have to be like a group decision as to how we want to do it. Like I said, I think at the last time we talked about this, that the one that Westboro did is actually indoors at their town hall, so it's not even buried. And then other places they bury it like we did and can't find it.
Or defeats the purpose.
We've got some leads on that.
I think we'd have to think about, I know I keep bringing up the dates because I'm trying to distill the calendar in my head, but if that's something that we kick off the year with, or if we keep building it through the year and add mementos from the 300th and then do whatever we do with it at the end of the year.
If that sounds like a good way to do it, and if other towns have done it that way, it's probably the way that the other ones have done it.
So would you have the townspeople give you items to put in there? I mean, I'm a little confused at how it works.
That's what Eric is going to tell us.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
What goes in?
So no, I mean, I'm sort of one of my immediate reactions is, just learn so much about all these different aspects of the history of here. And I know it's almost like here's what we knew about the history at this time and what we preserve, in addition to some things from today might be interesting. I don't know. I'm just, off the top of my head.
Your research will take us there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do you want to jump to that letter?
Yeah.
Jamie's under the weather.
Yeah. You still there, Jamie?
I am. I like the time capsule thing. Isn't that something, Eric, that the Boy Scouts could pick up and run with?
Oh.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea.
Perfect.
Well, you shared your draft letter regarding the military band, and I thought it was excellent. But do we have that here?
Yeah, it's in the packet.
I just thought that, I don't know what it costs, but I figured we should ask if they want to be part of our celebration before we even broach that. Someone had mentioned to
That's what we're
me,
talking about.
well,
Okay,
someone
so
had,
Jamie, start from the beginning because not everybody knows what we're
all
talking
right.
about.
So it was my idea to approach the Massachusetts Army National Guard band, who's like, they're a prestigious band. It's like 300 members, to come and be part of the parade for our celebration. Which, if you could have them, I mean, it would be an awesome thing. They do require like some 12 to 15 month notice, which we're right on the edge of, and so I thought I don't know what it costs, but like I said, I think I have heard some figures in the $4,000 or $5,000 range. But I mean, if it was that, I'm sure we could maybe find a sponsor or two to help us out in that respect. But I figured maybe I drafted a letter, and I thought maybe that we could vote on the letter and say, yay or nay on sending it out, and we could send it out to them and see what they say.
And the letter would be from you as a veteran. Is that?
Well, it's from me as the veterans representative for our committee.
Yes. So, do you have it there? Can you read it to us?
Hi. I'm sorry.
I have it. I can read it.
All right, Vanessa's gonna read it. Because then
Thank
we'll
you.
vote on it. Then we'll vote on it.
So there's, all the header information in it. Dear Sir or Madam, I hope this message finds you well. My name is Jamie Falcone, and I'm writing in my capacity as the Veterans Representative of the Southborough Tricentennial Committee. Southborough will be celebrating its 300th anniversary throughout 2027 with a series of events recognizing our town's history, civic pride, and longstanding connection to the men and women who serve in our nation's armed forces. One of the signature events during this commemorative year will be the Southborough Tricentennial Parade, scheduled for October 10, 2027. On behalf of the committee, I would like to formally request that the 215th Army Band perform in this historic parade. Your participation would be a tremendous honor for our community and an especially meaningful tribute to veterans and service members with ties to Southborough and the Commonwealth. The committee will gladly coordinate with your unit regarding scheduling, logistical requirements, equipment needs, parade staging, and any administrative approvals necessary. If the 215th Army Band is available on October 10, 2027, we would be deeply grateful to include you in this milestone celebration. I would welcome the opportunity to discuss the details at your convenience. Thank you very much for your time, consideration, and continued service to our state and nation. We hope to have the privilege of welcoming the 215th Army Band to Southborough for this special occasion. With respect and appreciation, Jamie Falcone, Veterans Representative.
I think it's an excellent letter. I move that we approve the letter.
I second it.
Okay, we're approving the letter to be sent to the band. Motion's been made and seconded. Did you, sorry?
Go
ahead.
I just wanted to let Jamie know, I can take this and format this on the Tricentennial letterhead and send it back to you, Jamie.
Sounds wonderful. And then what, you want me to sign it and then send it, or?
Sure.
Okay.
And then when you send it, maybe tell Vanessa that you sent it,
Absolutely.
so the clock can start ticking on that one.
Yes.
Excellent idea. Hopefully we'll be able to pull it off. Okay, the motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, Morris, yes.
Bennington, yes.
Wilkinson, yes.
Aldershot, yes.
Yeah, yes.
Falcone,
And-
yes.
Okay, unanimous. So that'll go out. And then the only other thing I think is on the agenda is a future department head meeting. I attended the one last summer. And I thought it went very well. There were good questions, and we were able to get the word out to the department heads of what we're trying to do. And at that time, we had a short list of ideas and things that we were going to do. So Vanessa, you said it might be in January.
Yep, or actually, I should know that date tomorrow. And I think the reason I raised this with Dawn is I think it's important. We're developing our department budgets right now for fiscal year 2027, which is the first half of calendar year 27. So if there's any impact on any of our departments that they need to budget for anything, that's something we really need to line up now, thinking about logistics or supplies or other cost items.
So depending on, when it is and where I am, I will attend that meeting if that's okay with you guys. And give them an update on what we plan to do. It's the end of that one. So, next meeting, January 14th. Is that good for everybody? No?
So I'm gonna be in San Diego at that time. I may be able to participate remotely. I have to work that out.
I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it on the 14th.
How about, the 21st?
That should not be a problem.
While people are looking at their calendar, I don't know if it's okay for me just to show the committee something that I've acquired. So this came to me via Kevin Miller, who's the Historic Commission. He brought it to my house. They were cleaning out the flag school. And this was destined for the dump. And when he brought it to my house, we opened it up and there were some nice turds in there, but I have since hung it out. These are dresses. They were called bicentennial dresses. I don't know if anyone knows anything about that. But they were sent to the town by a woman who her name is Gay Harder from Connecticut, and I have her. Anyway, these dresses are pretty much intact, and we don't know who wore them. The thought was originally that the Choke children wore them.
Wow.
So I have 3 dresses, and I don't know if you have any idea, but it would be really nice to kind of tie these bicentennial dresses into the tricentennial. I mean, they're cool. They are really cool, and I don't know what to do with them. So if anyone has any ideas,
Want mannequins on display
On
for
display somewhere.
something,
for
library
something,
maybe?
I feel that, and I can actually contact the woman whose name, I actually have the letter that was sent to the Historic Commission. I mean, Historic Society. Maybe I can contact her to see if she has any further, I mean, she was looking for us to give her information, but I feel that they can't go into the hamper at the transfer station. And I feel that I mean, it's worth, so if we have anything that we could get a mannequin to
That's what I
display
was
and
just
to try
thinking.
to
Yeah.
get some information. Sorry for not having that on the agenda.
Show and tell.
Made.
They're in really good condition.
Yeah, they're,
Yeah.
I mean, they're 100 years old.
Right, I know. Amazing.
And where
Wonderful.
did you get them?
So they were in the basement of the flag school.
Oh.
And they had, taken everything out because the
It's being
historic,
renovated. Yeah.
they moved over to Bayville. And there was a bunch of stuff that they didn't move and that was going to go to the transfer station. So Kevin, I don't know how Kevin came about this, but anyway, he said that maybe the Tricentennial Committee could use them somehow.
And somebody thought to label them in a way that you knew they were from the bicentennial.
Pardon me?
How did you know they were from the bicentennial?
Because I have a little letter.
Oh,
I put it in my book. Yeah. This letter he gave me as well. It was from a woman in Connecticut who has connections to the Burnett's. Because when I mentioned her name to Deb, she said, "Oh, she knows her very well."
yeah, fascinating.
So if anyone has any ideas with our planning.
So if somebody came up with a mannequin or what do they call, a dress, is it a form they call it?
A mannequin, yeah, I don't know, a dress form, you're right, dress form.
Yeah, they're,
Well, I'll
Would
ask
you-
around and see if I can track something like that down. That we can use to display them.
So she has the wedding dress.
You need three.
And she, yeah, but she's
But I'm
not
not
sending it.
So January 21st,
we good for
right? Do we agree on that?
January 21st?
Yeah.
January 21st?
Yes.
Okay. Jamie?
Yep, I'm in. Aye.
Okay. So our next meeting will be January 21st, 2026. You're on.
Will we adjourn?
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, Morris, yes?
Thanks, and yes.
And yes, jumping the line here.
Hold your silence.
Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you.